They're a nasty little couple and they do nasty little things, keeping people against their will. That's a quote from Jaguar Wright back, what was that, a few months ago when she was on Piers Morgan Uncensored, and which got taken down by Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z and company, took that down. Now, is this a prescient, is this just the foreshadowing of what was to come? Plenty of people have speculated that Jay-Z was going to be named at some point. Now, whether or not that was just finger pointing at the biggest guy on the block, Jay-Z, obviously financially successful as far as the rap game goes, a few in his league. And then as far as his career goes, right? Very few people within that particular echelon of success and fame. Now, that Jaguar Wright interview on Piers got taken down. You know, there was a cease and desist order from Jay-Z and his attorneys, whatever, to get rid of that. And of course, people are going to say, well, you know, it's because he doesn't want it out there because it's all true. I've seen the back and forth on plenty of channels, plenty of different podcasts about the different opinions on this. And a lot of people are like, yeah, he's next. And all the celebrities have been named, right? Like, they haven't been named yet, but people have been looking to name. They've thrown names out there. This one, that one, this media mogul, this particular celebrity singer, this actor, this mogul in the music industry, this particular studio executive, this particular person who ran a studio somewhere. Like, it's been speculated. There are models who are involved in some of this and just a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, with the latest, with the breaking news on Jay-Z being named in this amended suit that was filed back in the Southern District in October against Sean Combs, aka Diddy, has been amended to include Jay-Z. And that was breaking news Sunday night, December 8th, just yesterday. That was breaking news. We did a live on that, and I talked about my initial reaction to it. Now, I have the actual document, and I want to talk about it. I want to get into it. We're going to do that next on Time to Talk Podcast. Welcome to the Time to Talk Podcast. We're going to talk and say some things here and discuss this. I have a couple of takes on this, and there are some things that are just really questionable about the actual case itself and about what's alleged in this suit. And then some other people's takes on it and some of the things I've heard I also find to be a little intriguing and a little odd also. So let's get into it. Time to Talk Podcast. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let's just get into this. So Jay named the latest in this suit, which was amended to include him. This is from a 13-year-old girl. She was 13 at the time. This was in 2000. And she alleges that both Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, there on the left, and Sean Diddy Combs both raped her. Along with another celebrity, a female celebrity, unnamed, just celebrity B, named in the actual suit, who actually watched while this happened. This is where it gets really, really crazy, people. This is where it gets crazy. I'm going to get into this. Now, what I was going to do, when I did the live yesterday on Sunday when the news broke, I actually had some of the, not the legal document, but I had some of the case up, the actual wording in the from the news up on the screen. I'm not going to do that because from what I understand and what I heard, that AI can render some of the language here, some of the wording, and then you kind of like either get demonetized or it doesn't get, it won't show up somewhere, it gets suppressed in the YouTube algorithm. So with that said, I want to go through, I'm not going to go through the whole suit. I don't need to read the whole thing. I just want to get into what I consider the meat of this and what has some really questionable language and some things that are just crazy. All right, so factual allegations. This is a section called factual allegations. On or around, so this gives you the basics, the background story of this young lady being 13 years old and going out. On or around September 7th, 2000, plaintiff, then 13 years old, had a friend drive and drop her off near Radio City Music Hall in New York City so she could try to attend the VMAs, Video Music Awards. Attending the VMAs was on plaintiff's bucket list and she believed she could gain entry. Plaintiff arrived at the venue and saw large crowds gathering as artists and entertainers began arriving. Plaintiff was very excited. All right, so again, I don't need to go through every detail, but as the event went on, blah, 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 she tried to get in. She couldn't get in, attempted to talk her way into either. Okay, she approached several limousine drivers parked nearby and attempted to talk her way in. One of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for defendant Combs. The driver told her that Combs liked younger girls and said she fit what Diddy was looking for, even worse. And while not allowing her into the awards, the driver invited her to an after party. The driver stated that he had to drive Combs and others to the after party first, but instructed plaintiff to return to his location after the event and that he pick her up and take her to the after party. Okay. Later that evening, plaintiff excitedly returned to the same location and waited for what seemed to her a long time. The driver eventually returned and drove her what he described as the after party. After approximately 20 minutes, plaintiff arrived at what she believed to be a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. All right, now a couple of notes on that. One, 13-year-old girl running around the streets of New York trying to get into a party. That's not so far-fetched. I've had that conversation with a couple people about, what's she doing out at 13 years old. It's not crazy. Do I think a 13-year-old girl should be running the streets in New York City at 13? No. Does it happen? 13-year-olds get dressed. They go out. They're teenagers. They're trying to get into parties. This is on her bucket list. She wanted to see a celebrity. I mean, I had this conversation with my mother about the Beatles, for God's sakes, back in 1964, whenever they first came to Ed Sullivan Theater. How many young girls were trying to get a glimpse of them and follow them to hotels and try to get a peek at them? This is what they did. So this young lady being out at 13, yeah, it's a little suspect and whatever, but it's not so far-fetched and beyond reason. What I do find interesting is a limo driver and, talking to her like, hey, you're just Diddy's type. Right? And this guy, if I had to speculate here, this guy was probably trying to get his freak on as well. Let's be honest. It's a limo driver with some 13-year-old girl showing up looking to get into limos, looking to get into a party, and he played the role of, hey, girl, I can get you in. What was his price? What was he charging for that hookup, for that connection for this young lady? How did he ply her? Right? Because that just seems right there. Now, the limo driver, I guess they have to go back and find out who that limo driver was in order to name him in this actual suit. Are there records of that? Is it a particular company that was used? Is it a private limo driver? Who knows? But that guy should be brought up on charges as well. Moving on. Oh, and the other thing I want to take note of, I was trying to figure out what residence this must have taken place, because it's a house, right? So, it says a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. Now, I'm from Long Island, from New York, and I grew up out in the Hamptons and Riverhead High School, and that's where I spent my youth. And all those houses out there are white houses with U-shaped driveways. I mean, it is what it is. But I don't think this was the Hamptons, right? Because Diddy has a house in the Hamptons, and I don't think this was that. So if it was 25 minutes away, it seems, is what she said, then that would lead me to believe that it's a Jersey residence. And Diddy has a home in Jersey for some period of time, I think, before he sold and then went to LA. So this must have been Jersey. And if maybe it wasn't even Diddy's house, but maybe it was, but it was probably definitely Jersey where they ended up. All right. Once inside, two men asked plaintiff to sign a document, which plaintiff did not read, but which she now believes to have been a non-disclosure agreement. She was told that she didn't know what a non-disclosure agreement was, especially at 13 years old. And now it's not that she believes it was they told her that's what it was. All right. She was told that she could not discuss what happened at the party. She gave the men her name and signed the form, but did not receive a copy. This girl just wanted to get in and have fun. 13, innocent. I don't see anything crazy here. Inside the building, plaintiff recognized many celebrities as she entered what appeared to be a large living room or foyer containing a large crowd. Plaintiff attempted to mingle in the crowd and talk to several of the celebrities that she recognized and whom she had wanted to see at the VMAs. Wait staff circulated through the room carrying trays of drinks, and loud music plays throughout the venue. Plaintiff observed widespread drug use, including marijuana and cocaine. After attempting to talk to numerous celebrities, plaintiff accepted a drink from one of the waitresses circulating the crowd. The drink was a reddish-yellow mixture that tasted like orange juice, cranberry juice, and something bitter. After drinking just a portion of that drink, plaintiff began to feel woozy and lightheaded, making her need to lie down. A photograph of an actual exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents' employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below. Okay, so there's a photo. Now, this is where it gets crazy. This is where, brace yourselves if you haven't heard this or read this. these details. Looking for a place to rest, plaintiff walked down what appeared to be a hallway containing several rooms off of it. She entered what appeared to be an empty bedroom so she could lie down for a moment. She did not lock the door. This room contained only a large bed with no furniture or any other kind, television or other furnishings. Soon after, Combs entered the room along with defendant Carter and a female celebrity named, quote, as Celebrity B. Plaintiff immediately recognized all three celebrities. Combs aggressively approached plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You are ready to party." Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall, causing plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her again and threw her on the bed. At that point, Carter began removing plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Plaintiff was held down by Carter as he had his way with her, while Combs and Celebrity B watched. After Carter finished, he stepped back toward the wall. Combs then stepped forward and also had his way with plaintiff while Carter and Celebrity B watched. Combs then knocked plaintiff down and attempted to force plaintiff to perform on him. She fought back, standing up quickly and punching out at the same time, hitting Combs in the neck. Taken aback, Combs stopped his attempt. When Combs backed away in surprise, plaintiff grabbed her clothes and shoes and ran out of the bedroom, holding her dress in front of her like a towel. She ran around the residence until she found the front door and was able to leave the party. Although there were other guests still at the party, no one appeared to take notice of plaintiff's distress or attempted to help her. Let's pause here for a second before we continue. There's more to that's just unbelievable, but let's pause there. So, all right. We know that there's this whole thing with Diddy and the alleged scam or the MO that he has for essentially having his way with these young ladies and men and people in general, right? These laced drinks that are passed around the party, and baby oil that's laced with drugs that seep into a person's skin or particular parts of their body and allows for the drug to take effect in a much more potent manner or a quicker manner. It's put into the system. So we know that is like an MO, which is rape and is disgusting, right? So like you're essentially saying we're getting people messed up on alcohol. They're not going to know what's going on and then have relations with them, which is pretty sick and criminal in itself. But it's a slightly different type of assault on a female, right? Sexual assault. What's being alleged here is that this young lady was in a room and two men and a woman came in, physically assaulted her. It says that she was thrown against a wall. Now, I'm not getting into the veracity of her statement. I'm more or less saying, why would that happen? Why would Diddy have this young lady in a room? She's already disoriented. She's clearly not 100% coherent or like not able to fight back, or she's not like in the moment. So if that's the case, why did he throw her against a wall? Like, what was the purpose of that? I don't understand. And again, I'm not questioning the veracity of her statement and her take on the matter. I'm just curious about what kind of, like, you know, if you take it from both sides, like, did that really happen? Is she lying? Or how freaking depraved and how lunatic is Sean Combs that you're coming in a room and throwing, like, is there some sense of satisfaction of throwing some physical harm on a 13-year-old girl before you, like, take advantage of her? I just found that to be really, really, I mean, it's ill, it's disgusting, it's shocking, and like I said, it just makes you question a lot of things. The other part which stands out is Celebrity B, this woman. Who is this woman? Who? Busby must know. The girl must have named her. She recognized her, she said. Was this J-Lo at the time? Was this Beyonce? Is this Mary J. Blige? Who was this other third party, a female that stood there, allowed a man to throw a woman? You have to think about this for people. Let's pause and think about this for a minute. If we're talking about a situation where, and again, this is all depraved. All right, this is all disgusting. But let's take a situation. Let's take scenario A, where there are some celebrities. They're kind of freaky. They do these freak off things, whether it's whatever kind of thing gets them off, and they're in a house party and people are getting naked and things are happening, right? If you're celebrity B, this woman, and people are getting their freak on and you're part of that whole thing, then yeah, it's not going to be a big deal, right? Like it is what it is. To each his own, right? Now, if you're celebrity B, you're the female, and you know that guys are messing with underage girls and boys, and you are also partaking, then yes, you are criminally depraved as well for having relations with minors. However, it goes even deeper than that. It goes to some satanic, deep, really disturbing, evil shit here. The fact that female celebrity B is in a room with two grown men where one of these men throws a 13-year-old girl against a wall. Like, so you just stood there like that was cool? Like, is that part of your thrill? Did she get a thrill out of watching that happen? Yeah, throw her against a wall. Yeah, smack that. Like, is that what's going on? Because this just gets... This I want to know who Celebrity B is. I want that name to come out. That I'm interested in seeing. Because I find this really disturbing that they took turns doing this, allegedly, but there was physical harm basically put on this girl. All right, so let's go back to her. Once outside, okay, when Combs backed away in surprise, she ran around the residence until she found a front door and was able to leave the party. Although there were other guests still at the party, no one appeared to take notice of plaintiff's distress or attempted to help her. Now, that's another thing I wanted to touch on. How the hell is there a party full of people? This young lady, who must have been like seriously distressed, is running around naked holding her dress in front of her, and no one says anything. No one asks her if she needs help. No one says a word. That's the way. So this entire party is just a bunch of demons, and everybody's standing around like, yeah, we see this all the time. Yeah, somebody just probably threw her against a wall and had their way with her. Yeah, let her go. No one said anything. No one asked if she's okay. No, even if their thing is to keep it all quiet under wraps, no one took the time to say, hey girl, you cool, you all right? Like, just check on her. Something. This girl just ran around a party naked, distressed, and then eventually ended up outside. Once outside, plaintiff put her clothes back on and left the scene in the dark. Plaintiff attempted to retrace a route taken by the limo driver. She kept running until she reached a gas station she noticed on the way to the party. A female clerk noticed her distress and allowed her to use the phone. Plaintiff called her father, admitted that she had lied about her whereabouts, and asked him to pick her up. Plaintiff's father arrived to pick her up shortly before dawn. The rest of it has to do with the aftermath. After the assault, plaintiff fell into a deep depression, which continues to affect every facet of her life. Plaintiff suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and a seizure disorder caused by stress and trauma. Plaintiff has had difficulty maintaining normal relationships and lives largely withdrawn from society. People, there's so many things. I don't even know where. There's so many things. The father, okay. Now, I'm assuming the answer is that while she admitted to being out, and yes, daddy, I lied. Why are you picking me up in New Jersey at a house party or some random gas station? She lied about, I guess, what just took place. So she must have gotten dressed. She put herself together and just kind of like, I'm at a gas station. I need you to pick me up. And whatever lie she told to her dad, for her dad to be like, why are you at a gas? Where were you? And what, blah, 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 whatever. So whatever took place there, I'm assuming she did not tell him that she just came from a party where she was thrown against a wall and she was raped by two grown men. She must not have said anything. Now, that goes to the victim thing where it's, and I don't understand because I'm not a woman. I don't understand. And I've not been in that situation. But I hear, and it's usually the case. So it's like psychologically, that trauma, people don't speak about it from a position of shame and feeling a certain way. So I'm assuming that's what happened, because I can't imagine being her dad and knowing that something took place, because this story would have come out back in 2000 if I was her dad, because I would have showed up and I would have been blasting at that party, and I probably would have shot a bunch of people, period. if that was my 13-year-old little girl and I saw her bruised or in any particular way distressed over grown men at a house party, I would have shown up blasting, guns a-blazing. And pretty much, like, once she told me the story that no one helped her, I'd probably just be mad at everybody. So I don't know how that didn't come out, or, you know, whatever. Like, that just seems really, this is crazy. Now, here's the thing. In dissecting all of this and looking at some of the things that people are saying, like, so the issue that people are talking about is basically Tony Buzbee, whether or not this is just one of many nonsense suits that are designed to get money, extort, blackmail people, and that's what it looks like. Many people are saying. And I will repeat it. If you look at any of my videos on any of the Diddy stuff, I have said to you that my first inclination is to go with the victims on this and to sort of not rule out this idea, you know, not suggest that everyone's looking for a payday. There are real victims and we need to be mindful of that. And there are real minors. I will repeat that over and over and over again because it cannot be stated enough. It cannot be echoed enough. But at the same point, I've also made the case that, yeah, of course, with that comes a bunch of random people who are going to file suit. Anybody who's been at a Diddy party and had a drink is going to say, oh, hey, I deserve $10 million too, right? So Tony Buzbee put out a statement. Let's look at Jay-Z's first. So Jay-Z, this is the one I kind of have an issue with. Jay-Z puts out this. My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Buzbee. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and public scrutiny would make me want to settle. So yeah, like, all right, a lot of these people we can extort because once we basically just put it out there that we can run your name through the mud, you'll wind up settling, even if you did nothing wrong. But Jay, in true Brooklyn fashion, says, no, sir, I had the opposite effect. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So, no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? Now, here's the problem with that statement. Problem with that statement is, I believe, statute of limitations on that is like 6 years in New York. This took place in 2000. This is almost 25 years ago. So the statute of limitations on the rape charge it's not a viable option. From what I know, criminally speaking, I believe statute of limitations in New York, 6 years on a rape. So Jay making that statement about, hey, file a criminal charge, he probably knows that he can't file a criminal charge. These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Buzbee, but I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. See, I have a problem with that line right there. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Again, he's talking about his daughter. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to the true victims in the world who have to watch how their story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. Damn, Hof. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out from the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these type of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me. If not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. So, my issue with Hov's statement there is that he addresses victims as being his family. Blue Ivy, his kids. That's the way that comes off. And he doesn't really address the fact that there's a young lady who filed a case. Could be real, could be a shakedown. I knew that I had nothing to do with it, which is kind of what he wants to say. but he's not really addressing the fact that his boy Diddy is currently locked up in a jail cell in Brooklyn. And it's clear that the guy had a history, and it's clear that Diddy is a bit of a degenerate. And we know that. And Jay probably knows that. So why he's choosing not to address the fact that this young lady might have a viable claim. Look, I don't know what happened there. I had nothing to do with it. You can come after me all you want, but I am not that person. Like, he could do that. He can stand his ground and defend himself, his reputation, his honor, his dignity, his family. I think he should do that. However, there is a certain amount of insensitivity and a certain amount of lack of regard for the actual victim here by really just making it all about himself and his little family. That I have a problem with. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, by the way. Let me just put that out there. So this is really kind of personal for me as well, especially being a New Yorker, especially living in Brooklyn for a long time. Like, this really kind of like messes with me, but it is what it is. And I just think that that particular statement was not done very well. Now let's get into Busby's, I guess, reply. Regarding Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I'm very proud of her resolve. As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media. Well, Mr. Busby, I mean, realistically, you kind of are litigating it in the media. The media is making all of these decisions so far. We don't have a criminal case. Diddy does, but he's waiting for that trial in May. We've got all these civil cases that you're filing. We all these things happening, and most of it is happening through the court of public opinion on YouTube, right? People like, my channel talking about it and everyone else talking about it. Which brings me to the Breakfast Club, I guess, Charlemagne the God, whatever, and his band of merry whatever on 105, Power 105 here in New York. I watch a couple of things regarding the case and listen to other people's perspective, and I thought it was interesting that they automatically went down the route of accusing this girl of being a liar. That's what they really did. And you got, I think, 2-3 females on that random show of theirs. And it seemed that they were just like all in line for Jay-Z. Like, yeah, man. Yeah, Jay, like, the way they talk. First of all, one of them can't even read. I'm not sure why she did the story. They brought her up to do the story and to read all the stuff. And the girl can't read and couldn't pronounce the word valor and didn't like I was kind of laughing. I'm like, you're on the radio. You should really, you can keep it ghetto. You can kind of keep it black for your audience, but you should know how to read. So I thought that was kind of crazy. But I also thought it was crazy that they seem to side with Jay-Z with the idea that it's a money grab. And again, like I've said, there are going to be plenty who are doing that. There's no question. But I just think it's irresponsible, and I think it really says something if we just start automatically taking every single case and saying, there's another money grab. Because yes, there are going to be those, but there's also a boatload of real victims out there, and we cannot dismiss that. And until we know the facts, we shouldn't be doing one or the other. We should not really be saying, she's just trying to get money from Jay-Z. Yeah, Jay handled that correctly. Yeah. It's just another money grab. We shouldn't do that. We should not do that. I think we learned our lesson. Like I said, I've admitted it way back before the Cassie video came out. Way back when that suit came, I said, we don't know anything. We don't have a history of Diddy beating anyone or doing anything crazy along those lines. We don't know. I've never seen any of that. I talked about it on this particular channel. And then that tape came out, and it just went down. It was just like, you know what? This man is everything that he's been alleged to have been. So now, when it comes to other people showing up saying that they've been beaten or raped or mistreated by this man, it is not so far-fetched. In fact, you tend to go the other direction. You tend to put your faith and stock in them. And remember, a lot of these people were minors. This girl's 13 years old that filed this suit. These are young people. Their minds are not right at that time. And the people who took advantage of that, and the people who continue to take advantage of that, and the people who are still in the shadows getting away with it, Like, really, we need to not let up on that fact and expose these people for what they are. I'm not going to sit here and say Jay did or didn't do whatever. I think that the allegation there is just totally, like, it is mind-blowing in terms of the physical assault that Diddy put on her, and then the fact that there's celebrity B, another female celebrity, watching this all go down, and then the fact that this girl ran around the house trying to leave and then got outside. Like, it's just bananas. We will see where this goes. I'm shocked. I'm not shocked. Again, people have been speculating that, especially with the Jaguar Wright interview on Piers Morgan. People are saying that Jay's time is coming. And I guess now it's here. We'll see where this goes. We'll keep you posted. I'll keep you updated on this. I wanted to share. I wanted to talk about it. Again, I think it's important that we recognize there was no matter where our inclinations go to say, yeah, it's another money grab, oh, here comes someone else, or there's really no facts there, or how do you prove this, or yeah, this is just another person trying to, I know that might happen, but at the same point, keep in mind, there is a lot of devious stuff going down. There's a lot of dots being connected between Cat Williams and Jaguar Wright and this one and that one, making allegations that seem to all align in a certain way. And then we get this. Which is not conclusive in any way whatsoever, but we need to be mindful that there's in the shadows out there's still a lot of people who are guilty, who have been part of this. Any person at this party, anyone who watched this girl running around or saw this take place, they're all guilty. They're all guilty. And we need to be mindful of that. We need to be mindful that there are still people out there, 13, 10, whatever, 12 years old, younger, that have been abused, that have not been spoken for yet. And we need to just keep that on our radar and make sure that we push to see those investigations take place and make sure we push to see real justice for these people. Time to Talk Podcast. If you haven't subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this Jay-Z thing. Are you a Jay-Z fan? Are you not a fan? If you are a fan, does this affect how you see things? If you're not a fan, are you just looking forward to him going down? To begin with, keep it real, keep it honest, be objective in your assessment. Let me know. If you've not subscribe and like this video on the way out. I really appreciate that. It helps everything go around in a nice way, and we can keep doing these videos. We're growing, so I'll see you on the next Time to Talk Podcast. Peace.